What is that? You think this is in like?
So yeah, welcome. Morning Drinkers Podcast.
Thank you.
David Castañeda.
Yes.
Yes. And are you cool with that?
I think it moves a little bit, but that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
I'm sorry. We were supposed to have a different setup.
Oh wait, no, I can tighten it here. There it is.
There you go.
Boom.
Right on. Yeah, man. So I actually I wanted to get you on for a couple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main reasons is that we play in a group together, and I feel like I don't even really know you that well.
I'm new to the area.
Are you though?
Okay, I was here for a few years during undergrad, so I know the area.
Yeah.
And I met you and like the usual suspects during that time. But then I left for like 7 years to LA, so it's been a minute since I've been down here. And I only really came down here for like gigs and like
right.
specific reasons. And then I've been down here. I let everyone know I was down here since like January, I want to say. I moved down here like September. But I didn't really tell anybody because I was writing the dissertation, you know.
Right. Like you wouldn't be available anyway for anything. Yeah.
Nah, I was trying to like make sure I wasn't doing any kind of music situation whatsoever because the dissertation is just so, the research involved, you know.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't even know what, 12, 16-hour days, you know, just trying to get it all right.
That's insane.
It was hard.
So you graduated what, last month? Last month. You got your PhD. So what is your degree? Like what was it that you what did you major in? Explain I guess your trajectory to achieving your PhD. Your PhD in
ethnomusicology.
Ethnomusicology.
Ethnomusicology, yeah. So the trajectory, it was interesting. I got an undergrad, a BA in music, studying with Castañeda at UCSD. And that degree was great because, I mean, what I really went to school for, what I wanted to learn how to do was write music. I didn't know how to read or write when I was a kid. I did everything by ear. So I had a really good ear, but I didn't really have I love writing songs, but I didn't know how to communicate that to other musicians, right?
Yeah.
So it's one thing to be able to write. It's another thing to be able to write it's one thing to be able to compose music. It's another thing entirely to be able to compose music efficiently, right?
Right.
So if you sit in a room with like 5 dudes and you can do like the Metallica thing, you know, and just jam and like collectively write and compose, that's great. You know, a lot of great music happens that way, has happened that way. But in the situation that a lot of musicians find themselves here in the United States, speaking specifically, or any, I don't know, capitalist environment, you know, you don't have really that much time if you're trying to make this a living, or even if you have a day job and you have other things going on.
Right.
You don't have the time to do that. You need to be able to present musicians with a concise form of what it is you want to play, and then you play it. You know? And then you work stuff out as you play it.
Right.
So I understand that through the jazz tradition, which is chart writing, you know, composition, arrangement. And that's essentially being able to take ideas in your head, musical ideas, and put them in a form that another musician who has never seen or heard that idea can accurately produce.
Interpret, play. Yeah.
Exactly, you know. So I went to undergrad really to learn that, and I studied under Castañeda, which, you know, Anthony Davis, David Borgo, Mark Dresser, and they helped me tremendously, and I learned a bunch in there. And then when I finished that, I was like, well, you know, I want to continue this somehow, but I didn't really know in what. And a buddy of mine, I don't know if you know him, Gabriel Garcia, Chango Majadero.
Yeah.
He did a program at CSULA that was in Afro-Latin music, a master's program. He's like, hey man, why don't you come down here? You can, it's a cool program. It's like one of 2 in the country that you can get a master's in specifically Afro-Latin music. Usually it's like, I don't know, jazz or something. Composition. So I went and I got in. It ended up being a really cool 2-year program. There was like a lot of bullshit, but also a lot of really cool things. I got to study a year with Calixto Oviedo and Euro Zambrano, who are amazing. I mean, Calixto's he's like a, I don't even know what you call him, man. Like a Miles Davis of timba music, you know. He's like one of the guys who invented it. You know, a lot of his sound is what the drummers today use, you know?
Yeah.
So to be able to study with him for a year was like, what are the odds? You know?
Right.
He landed, I think he came from Sweden. He was staying in Sweden. And they offered him a position, or somehow he came to LA, and then he got to that school. And I was like, they're like, hey,
Wow,
you know,
yeah.
we're thinking about hiring Calixto. Would you like to study with him? I'm like, what are you talking about?
You're like, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah, right. The
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, no problem. There's YouTube. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he came out and studied with him. I did a bunch of writing, you know, and it was cool. And then towards the end of that, somebody told me, oh, well, you know, there's a program at UCLA in ethnomusicology. And I was like, what is ethnomusicology?
Right.
That word doesn't even make sense, you know? Doesn't make sense. So then I started reading books by this scholar named Stephen Loza. And I actually really liked it because what he was doing is he was interviewing musicians within the context of culture, right? And history.
Right.
Which is what any musician does, really.
Yeah.
Like if you're taking the proper respect to the music, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're understanding the music within its cultural context.
The traditions of everything.
Exactly.
Right.
So you play piano, maracuyá. If I were to tell you what's the difference between pupis montunos
Right.
and the montunos that you hear, let's say, in Fania All-Stars, what would that be?
Dude, they're drastically different for sure. Well, honestly, I think the Fania All Stars has just such a fucking. I always think like Larry Harlow.
Yeah.
You know, and his style is actually kind of blocky and very traditional, like Latin jazz almost, to be honest. Whereas Pupi kind of transforms what I've spoken to a lot of Cubans about was like they took essentially what Bach was doing and they injected those African rhythms into it.
Yeah.
Especially into that left hand.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like, dude, I've never heard this before. This is just like mind-blowing shit. But it's honestly, it's kind of funny because it's really nothing new. It's just a different way of interpreting it.
Now, what years?
What do you mean, what years?
What years did this come around? Like when did Pupi start doing his thing and when did Larry Harlow start doing his thing?
I would say Pupi was doing that shit probably late 70s, early 80s even. Yeah. And then Larry like just in the 60s, no?
60s and the 70s.
Into the 70s.
And then
you also have Chucho fucking doing his shit too.
Oh, of course.
With Iraquere.
Yeah. Where though? Now, where did this happen?
Well, New York for sure.
Is Larry Harlow and Pupi is?
Pupi, is Cuba.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're doing ethnomusicology. So that's all ethnomusicology is. It's like, okay, so what is happening musically?
Yeah.
Where is it happening? When is it happening? And then the last question that's often the most important is why, right? So like, why was Pupi thinking in this way? Why did two distinct styles develop? You know? All these kind of questions. That's essentially ethnomusicology. And the way that they do, and musicians do this all the time, you know? So I
find it funny more so that, bringing it back to like Chucho and Iraquere and then even Pupi, they were listening to American music.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, let's kind of implement this like funk that America is doing and incorporate it to what we kind of already have over here. And then it's just a fusion that they created. It's just another form of fusion.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
For me, the interesting part of that question is the fact that the fusion happened.
I gave you a stupid elongated answer.
No, that was good.
Okay,
that was
it was like.
No, that's a good answer. A stupid elongated answer would have been like, look, man, the piano has 88 keys. And then you just play what you want, man. You play from your heart. Nah, there's shit that you're playing, you know?
Right.
But so essentially that's ethnomusicology, right? It's asking these questions. And what I liked about it is all the musicians that I've very, very much respected and looked up to, they've always done this. They've always thought in this way. You know, why are we playing this at this position this position in the music, this part of the music? What is the history behind it? Why did these things come about?
Yeah.
So when I found out that I could do this as like, you know, academically, I was like, yeah, I'm down. That sounds really, really cool. That's what got me to UCLA.
Wow. That's so... I don't know why I always say that's so funny. It's interesting though that you chose to... That interested you that... Like, did you have anything else that interested you? You were like, you know what? I think I'm going to major in this because, let's say, it's probably going to net me more money. It's probably going to be more lucrative than pursuing ethnomusicology?
Yeah, man. Well, in high school, I was supposed to go to pre-med. I was like, everything was set to go to pre-med.
So you're going to get a PhD regardless, dude.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
I think so. I think so. I just like, school was always fun for me. I liked
You were always a good student? Like, even middle school, high school, all that?
I wouldn't say that. I got bored really easily. So like in middle school and high school, like I really liked medicine. It was either going to be medicine or physics. I really liked physics and like was the sciences, I guess.
Okay.
I really, really liked science in middle school and in high school. But I got bored easy, right? So the reason why I think I liked school so much is because you could just do a bunch at this. You know what I mean? Like if you start with chemistry, there's always like tons to learn. You know, you just go and go and go. So that was the plan until basically like, honestly, it was the tail end of high school because that's when my dad started to get sick. So my dad got really, really sick and he almost died a few times, but he basically had liver failure, right? Through many complications. But I was the one I was the only one who drove. I'm the oldest of three. And by that point they were separated. So I was the only one who was actually able to take him to all his appointments. So
how old are you?
By this point I was like 16 going on 17.
Would you say that your father's health issues were maybe a contributing factor to you wanting to go into med?
No, because he hadn't gotten sick when I started being interested in medicine. So I was very interested in the sciences and medicine like from the beginning of middle school.
Okay.
Which funny enough was like that's when my parents ended up separating and I had all of this free time, right? Because he wasn't in the house and my mom there was like a bunch of bullshit going on. But I had all this free time. And also there was like this rhetoric in the house always of like, you want to be a doctor, like medicine doctor, and I just always thought it was cool, like they have all these puzzles, the body just works in all these crazy ways and everything is so precise, but so many things can go wrong. And doctors are these people that like figure it out, and then can make it right. And you say, it's just very, very cool. So to me though, it was very innocent and like antiseptic that way. It was like, oh, you have these issues you can solve, you know, and you have all these different ways you can solve them. And then towards the end of high school, when my dad was like basically on his deathbed, I saw like the actual medical system that we have here. So he would be like writhing in pain.
Yeah.
When you have really bad liver problems, you become cognitively cognitively impaired. It's very early.
Yeah. I know.
We both didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Yeah.
Dude, I know what you mean. It's so funny because this is morning drinkers, and like now that I finished my tea, I was like, you know what?
Tea.
I think I'm ready for a drink.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want one.
Oh man, I gotta go record at KPBS, man. I can't be loose for that.
I don't know if you want one.
It's not a question.
Keep going. Okay. Keep going.
So he got really sick, and when you have liver problems, you start to become cognitively impaired. So we would be in these waiting rooms. We didn't have a lot of money, so we would be sitting in these ER rooms at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, waiting there for 6 hours. And it would get to the point where he didn't like know who I was, but he was on the floor. Like, and this is a man who, he was a construction worker for many years. I witnessed this dude like shoot himself in the hand with a nail gun by accident.
Yeah.
Roofing. And you pull it out, wrap it in a bandana, keep going. Or work the full day, at the end of his work shift.
So tough guy, but this pain was just
tough. So to see him on the floor that way.
Now the pain is like all over. It was just like liver pain.
Well, yeah. So when you have cirrhosis, your liver is essentially scarring, right? Yeah. So it can't work anymore.
Right.
So you get backed up with all these different things, and from what I understand, it's
all the toxins. It fucking
everything. Yeah, man. It's swelling. Like just there's a lot of stuff going wrong. So to see him in the floor like that was like crazy. But I'll never forget the way that people treated us. Right. So like on one occasion, the man's on the floor and the lady behind the desk is literally like, I need you to tell me from 1 to 10 what your pain level is.
Dude, I hate that so much.
I hate, and I'm like, are you talking to me or him?
You're like, I think it's a 10. I think it's a 12, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he needs to see someone right now. Yeah. Like that's probably what needs to happen. Yeah. And I remember her looking at me, like not even looking at me. She was just looking at a paper. She's like, I need to hear from him. And he's like yelling, and I'm like, what the fuck do we do here? You know, a second occasion he almost died. He started seizing because we were in the ER.
Yeah.
And the nurse for whatever reason didn't want to give us the time of day. And same thing.
Where is this?
This is in San Francisco.
Okay.
So I don't want to say hospital names, so
Right.
but this was in San Francisco. And so he's on the gurney, whatever, in one of the rooms, and same thing, writhing in pain. And I'm calling the nurse over. I'm like, look, man, I know what his medicine is. I can tell you.
Yeah.
He's like, you just need to wait for the doctor. We're gonna get to him in a minute. Okay. You know, I'm sitting there, and then I see him, and he's just like chilling with another nurse, like talking about sports or whatever. They're chilling, you know, having a good time. And I'm like, sir, we really need you to call the doctor over. He's like, I told you need to wait, right? Like, just.
Yeah.
And I look back, and my dad starts seizing, right? And you hear the click, 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 click. And that's when he like looked over.
And you're like, hey, I've been fucking calling you.
Yeah. He runs in, and then the doctor peeks his head in. And he goes, how long has this man been here? And that's when I looked to the nurse, and like, I was thrown out. Like, it was bad. So I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want any part of this. You know, like, it's the medical system here in the United States does tremendous things. Mm-hmm. But to see that side of it, I was like, you know what, man? I'm not down for this. You know, it's not.
Do you think? Because I've wondered this before, and especially based on the original person's reaction, the woman behind the desk. Mm-hmm. Do you think they're just so desensitized to all these things that it is now just become? And it's not that they don't give a fuck. It's just more often than not, it may not even be as serious as, you know, one's claiming to be. And so they're just kind of like, you know what? I've heard this person cry wolf way too many times. I'm going to treat everybody like it's not that big a deal.
I mean, I think when you see shit for 20 years, you get used to seeing shit.
Right.
You know?
So are you desensitized to certain things now as a result of seeing, you know, your father like that, witnessing the hospital, you know, doctors, nurses, even just regular, you know, concierge people, so to speak? Are you just kind of like, almost jaded in a sense?
I don't know if I'd say jaded, because I do know a lot of my family is in the medical field.
Okay.
My mom is in the medical field, and she's like tremendous at what she does. She goes above and beyond for patient care. You know, so it was always.
She a nurse?
She's not a nurse. She's a psych tech. She's thinking about going back to school to be a nurse. But it's interesting to see the contrast, right? So my mom will stay. You know, my mom's thing is like she goes home when the work is done.
Gotcha.
Not like one of these other people. So there's definitely a spectrum. And I'm not trying to say that like anyone in the medical field here is like...
Maybe you're just at a shitty hospital too.
This was a tremendous hospital.
Really?
Yeah. This was a really good hospital. And we went to this hospital many times. So I think that when... Like if you got to work the graveyard shift anywhere...
Yeah.
And you got to work the graveyard shift at a major hospital at 4 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to be happy about it. But I also don't really like the fact that I've met and I've seen a lot of people who have gotten into the medical field because they know how steady it is and because they know how secure the jobs are. It's difficult to get into. It's difficult to become a nurse for sure.
Yeah.
But if you get a solid position, you're cool. I'm not saying it's an easy job, but you know, a lot of people look at it. I know a lot of people who were like, yeah, I'm going to go into the medical field because I know it's a good job.
I would say majority of the people that I know are like that.
Yeah, it should be. I'm going into the medical field because I really want to make sure that I save lives, I make a difference, I help people. Because that's a hard job, dude.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. It's
I can't do that.
Oh, me either. You know, like it's... Imagine, you know, oops, I killed somebody today.
Yeah. I can't do any of those jobs.
Yeah.
I'm way too selfish. Like I wish I could say otherwise. I wish I could say. My bad.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's just like.
I was gonna say something. I thought you were gonna say something. That was good. Okay.
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
Listen, I'm a lot of things.
Yeah.
And at least honesty is one of them. People may not enjoy it.
Yeah. No, that's good, man.
But it is what it is.
But you look,
there's a reason I'm not there.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you. If I were to do that, I would be one of those people that would just be doing it for the money and the job security. And you don't want me there for that.
Well, the thing is, so many people get in that are there for that.
Yeah.
And it's you know, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it should be harder. Speaking as someone who hasn't had to go through the process of becoming anything in the medical field, right? So I can speak from this position in a way that would probably be offensive to somebody in the medical position. But I've just met so many people that are clearly of that mindset, you know, that, like, I remember there was a nurse one time when my dad was there, and she was just, like, very rude. Mm-hmm. And my dad even asked her, he had, like, wires sticking out of him. Yeah. And he's like, do you love what you do? And she, like, looked at him and was like, I love the paycheck that I get, and, like, walked away. And I'm like, you know, the gall on somebody to say that so, like, blatantly, you know what I mean? And, like, matter of fact.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, man, imagine that statement would be perfectly cool coming from like a mechanic.
Yeah.
What else? Like a plumber, you know, like something where what you do doesn't.
Where your life isn't on the line.
Yeah, you know? Like, but the minute it starts to be like, if I hear like an chief aeronautical engineer for Boeing say that, that doesn't make me feel good, right? You know, like or like a doctor or anything where safety is involved. That's where I start to be like, you know.
I think I see where you're getting at, because you said I think it needs to be harder. Yeah, because usually you just said chief like aeronautical engineer. Yeah. It takes a long time to get there. Mm-hmm. I think along the way you would be like, this ain't for me. Yeah, fuck this. Mm-hmm. But there are a lot. Yeah, like you said, a lot of nurses and this goes for almost a lot of professions. I would go so far as to say a majority, at least in this country, do not like what they do.
It's a paycheck, and I get it. And it's a good paycheck. I get it. I just wish that...
I've accepted gigs I didn't want to do for the paycheck.
Yeah.
But like, I hate doing it. Yeah. Because I'm like...
But when we fuck up, it's like, oops.
No one's going to die.
Yeah. No one probably even notices.
I probably die a little inside.
Oh, we do. Yeah. We were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, there's a line for me when what you do directly affects, you know, like the actions of those people in many ways affected my life trajectory, you know?
Wow, yeah, if you think about it. Had you not experienced something like that, maybe you actually would have gone into that field.
I probably would have been a doctor, you know, at some hospital right now, maybe. Who knows?
Look like a doctor.
Thank you.
Not right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's happening. I was going to bring it up as this prescription.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I was like, you're choosing to wear some hefty lenses right now.
Fuck it, dude.
Yeah. Whatever, superstar. Man.
It is what it is.
You'd be like a doctor on CNN, you know, like just
right now.
Yeah.
Sanjay Gupta.
Yeah. Exactly.
Where's the camera, Sanjay?
Yeah.
Can we connect, please?
Yeah.
I love you on CNN.
We'll get Sanjay, Dr. Oz, everybody involved.
Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew.
I called into Loveline when I was 17.
That's right.
I called into Loveline. I loved Loveline.
I overheard this briefly last weekend when we were at that little hang sesh.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear the details. I just remember you saying he called into Loveline. I was like, really?
Let me tell you. So when I was 17, 16, me and my homie Billy, William McGrath, he's all married and whatnot. Kids. He's like an upstanding citizen. I'm over here with these big ass glasses, morning drinker. So
styling.
So we loved Loveline. We just thought it was so cool that somebody with, you know,
those credentials,
who we really respected, you know, at that age, was having candid conversations about things that we as young men were just like super interested about and curious about, and, you know, the public schools.
And honestly, just like very juvenile about it all, you know.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, you know, it was, you know, I've always had a very dark sense of humor, you know, so the stuff that they bring on and the characters, you know, it's just, I don't know, like I also like people and all of their, like, how beautifully chaotic they are. You know what I mean? Like, you never...
That's cool. Okay, I'm learning. We have some similarities there.
You know?
All right.
So we would watch, like, I believe it was every Sunday. Every Sunday we would, you know, midnight, we would be listening to this on the radio, on the stereo. So one time we're hanging out, I'm like, hey, man, we should call in. And he was like, but we don't have anything to talk about. I'm like, well, we can lie. Yeah, we could, like, make up a character.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to do that? Like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll be Benson. I'll be like a gangster, you know. Name. He's like, name Benson? Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, you can try it.
This gangster from the UK or something?
Yeah. I was It was Benson, and he was a gangster cholo from like Hayward or something. I don't know. I was 17.
Did you do an accent, like a cholo accent?
Yeah, I was like, hey man, my name is Benson, hey, or whatever. I basically just talked like my dad. So and then I called in, and they actually took the call, like because they screen when you call in, and they were like, you want to do, your name's what? You're from where? And I don't know if the guy's
Benson Holmes?
Benson from Hayward, California.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say, if this is on the internet, whatever, but
It's going on the internet.
no, if the actual call is on the internet,
right.
I don't want to, incriminate myself or anything. I was 17, but it was some nonsense. But the guy, I'll never forget the guy that was screening me. He's like dying. He's like, "Oh, you're getting on for sure. You're getting on for sure."
Dude, that guy probably got fired.
Yeah. So then I call immediately. They put me on hold, and I'm like, "Oh, turn on the stereo." And I call my other homie. I'm like, "Turn on the radio, whatever station it was." And they actually put me on. And I remember Dr. Drew was such a prick, dude, from the beginning, because I think he knew it was like not real. I didn't really have. So much
He
to
probably
talk.
saw the screener, and the screener was laughing. Yeah.
But they all, like, I remember one guy, he was like, your name's Benson? I'm like, yeah, man. And they're all laughing. He's like, what's your favorite color? I'm like, purple. And they're like, that's royal, man. That's a royal name for a royal
I got
person.
a royal last name.
Oh my God. It was super, super funny. And then I found the footage somewhere, and it was horrifying. Like the things that I was saying as of 17, like the conversation was horrifying. The things we're actually talking
You're not
about.
going to say what?
I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it. I can't do it, man.
Shit.
No, I can't do it.
You got to tell me off there.
One day, I'll tell you off air. One day I'll share the actual. I have the audio. We recorded it.
Oh, you do have it?
Yeah, I have the audio. It was live. It was live.
Okay.
I have it recorded. I don't know how I recorded it. I think
Like
I recorded it on my phone.
Oh, okay.
In front of the speaker or something like that. And then I have the actual audio.
That's hilarious.
So I'll send it to you so you can listen to it.
Definitely.
But don't put it on the internet. I'm not proud of that.
Who was co-hosting at the time? Was it still Corolla?
I don't remember. It wasn't Corolla. I would have remembered Corolla. It wasn't Corolla. I think it was definitely Dr. Drew.
Right.
And then I think two other dudes. It wasn't Corolla. I would have remembered his voice.
He must have already left then.
Yeah. Yeah, this was 2007 or something like that.
Yeah, I think Corolla had just left. Actually, I think maybe even the year before or something. Wow.
But yeah, I loved Loveline, man. It was cool.
Dude, it was a good show. I remember I wouldn't listen like religiously, but yes, on the nights that I would just be like, oh, let me tune in. It was always a blast.
Yeah,
it was always great. It was always a lot of fun. I actually always kind of liked the radio show aspect anyway.
Yeah.
Like when podcasts came along, I was like, that's the same thing as the radio, except now it's just on the internet and you could access it anytime. It doesn't have to be live. It's just recorded now.
Yeah.
And because I don't know how you are. Sometimes I get musiced out, and I'm like I just don't want to listen to music anymore.
Oh yeah.
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 Like because music is what we do. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
Like when I come home, if I've been shedding for a week straight or whatever, working on a bunch of different projects, then I play the gigs. When I come home, I don't want to listen to any more music.
I'm the same way.
I just want so I'll listen to a podcast or I'll watch even a podcast. Something different.
I'm the same way, man. Your ears need a break.
Yeah.
I also feel like the brain needs a break. I feel like if I'm shedding stuff and I keep thinking about music and music and music, it's almost like it takes longer to learn whatever it is I'm trying to learn. Whereas if I leave it and sleep, then the next day I'll have it,
That goes for anything. I was talking about that on the last episode, 2 episodes ago, with another musician friend that was on, and I said that I take frequent breaks even while I'm practicing, and it was a technique that I learned reading about Einstein.
Oh.
That Einstein used to take frequent naps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he was working on whatever,
That makes sense.
He would always take little breaks and take sometimes like 20-minute naps here and there.
Well, that's how your body works stuff out, right? Or your brain, I should say.
It's like you cram a bunch of stuff in, and it's like, hold on, like give me a second to process everything, and it's like shut everything down so we could process it faster.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It makes total sense.
So I'll do that a lot, and actually, it's good for the eyes too. I'll be on my computer or something, either working on a recording or transcribing something, and then I'll get up and I'll just like go out on my patio and just kind of like look outside and just stare.
And it's easy out here in San Diego, man. It's so beautiful, just to be out. You can do that. That's such a nice decompress technique out here. Man. So ethnomusicology. That's to bring it back to that. That's what that.
Yeah,
degree is about.
we went on a whirlwind.
Yeah, and it's cool, man. You know, it's one of those things where thinking in that way of like, essentially what a lot of people like to say at the musicology is anthropology with musicology.
Right.
It just produces a lot of really cool questions, you know, and a lot of interesting issues and a lot of interesting kind of like. The main thing with ethnomusicology is the interviews, because you can have music studies that deal with like society and history. With Mozart, right? There's a lot of people who do that stuff on classical music, whatever. But the thing with ethnomusicology is it has to be current because you have to be able to talk to the people who actually do it.
Right.
That's the sticking point.
So it's more of a personable thing.
Yeah, it's like people. You have to be interfacing with people. And that's what I really like about it because, you know, like people are just interesting, man. Like they're just, you know, like no one's story is exactly the same.
Right.
They have their quirks, you know, like when you're conducting an interview, like half of it is just figuring out the person you're sitting across from so you can get the right information. Yeah. You know, saying the right things. It's just interesting. So
that's literally what happens here.
Yeah.
Have you ever met Oliver? Oliver's the co-host, but he's not here, obviously.
Did he do film one time for one of the Maracuya stuff thing?
No, he didn't do any film. He's been basically, I think, to every show.
Maybe I met him, and I'm just.
He's a really good friend of Diego's as well. He does spoken word poetry.
Oh,
as well,
cool.
Yeah. But he's actually the co-host, and when no one else is, it's always just him and I. But when we started this whole thing, we've actually kind of begun using it as a tool to communicate better.
Yeah.
Because there's, you know, sometimes there'll be a lull here and there, or sometimes the other person, whomever we're speaking with, actually when you get to a certain level, you realize we don't vibe. Like there's something there. It's like, oh, we don't vibe. So you get to learn how to navigate those waters as well.
Yeah.
With someone that, if you meet a stranger on the street, you're like, oh, this person's kind of got this energy. I'm gonna match it. I know how to navigate this now.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole thing has kind of done.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful way to learn how to communicate with somebody.
It's
just to talk.
It's difficult. It's increasingly difficult, especially with people's attention spans these days.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, with the success of like Joe Rogan and like all those comedians.
He, to me, is such an outlier.
I'm trying to think of all the podcasts I listen to right now. I think most of the...
Can you think of one that's as long format as his? That's what I mean by outlier.
Not 3 hours, but...
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
You're completely right.
Yeah.
I would say, though, that isn't... What's the YouTube, like... What is that? Average? It's like 5 minutes? Like, if you get to 5 minutes...
Okay, yeah.
It's like you're in the top, whatever... 1% or whatever.
Wow, I'm not even informed about that.
Attention span or something.
Really?
Is it 5 minutes or is it 2 minutes? It's something incredibly small. Right?
Well, I'm sure. Well, that's why you have TikTok taking off, which
30
is
seconds.
Essentially Vine.
Yeah.
Vine was even shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for podcasts, audio only tends to be, for me, I'd start to peter out like around like 20 minutes.
Okay.
For audio. I'm a visual person though. I like seeing.
I like if I'm listening to a podcast, it depends on which podcast, but more often than not, the podcast that I listen to, I actually end up watching it.
Yeah,
to me, they're shows. To the point where like people ask me about, hey, did you see that new show on Netflix? I'm like, no.
Don't watch podcasts.
Because I've been watching podcasts.
Yeah.
Like that's my, to the point where now I'm all, I should cancel all that shit. Because I just watch YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going to get YouTube Premium?
If I cancel all the other ones, I might. I legit might. I mean, might as well.
I'll never get YouTube Premium.
I know, I hate it.
Their ads are so annoying.
But that's why I want the premium.
I'm never going to do it.
So the ads aren't that annoying.
If the ads were less annoying, I would have already gotten YouTube
What?
Premium.
That doesn't make any sense, though.
It doesn't have to make sense. That's my reaction.
To
No, if it was less annoying, I would have been had YouTube Premium for the amount of time that I spent on YouTube.
Right.
But those ads come every 3 seconds.
Yeah.
They're long as hell. A lot of them you can't skip.
It'll say like video play after.
Yeah.
You're like, for real?
So you know what? Fuck you, YouTube.
Yeah.
Make some ads that are less invasive, and I guarantee you, as someone who's not in marketing, that your subscription base will quadruple. That's what it is.
So back to any other outlier. Can you think of anyone who has such a long formatted podcast that is still interesting enough where you stick around?
Here's the thing, though. I wonder if a lot of the podcasts that I listen to haven't been edited down and they just aren't willing to share an hour-long interview. I feel like a lot of the podcasts, like Steven Pinker stuff, is super interesting.
Right.
And I can almost guarantee you...
Did you bring him up because of the book right there?
No. I just like his podcast. That's a bad book, though.
Yeah.
It's a good book. But I guarantee you those conversations have to be like an hour long. But what he releases is like 20 minutes. So I would wonder if he would...
Does he have a Patreon?
I'm almost certain he does have a Patreon. So maybe
some of those people do that.
Yeah.
They edit out and they're like, if you want to see the full unedited, go to your Patreon. Yeah.
That's probably what's going on. And I'm just not aware of it because I'm not signed up. I should sign up for his Patreon.
See, Joe doesn't do that shit.
No, everything's out.
Yeah.
Just through Spotify.
But even before then, he was just like, fuck it, we're not even going to edit it. It's so actually like low budget. Now when I've seen other people's podcasts, I'm seeing how produced it is that when I go and watch Joe's, I'm all, this motherfucker is like doing what we're doing. He's just got a camera and then this and all right.
It's a turnoff for me when it's too produced. Like
sometimes.
Tom Bilyeu's. I love Tom Bilyeu's Impact Theory. I hate how produced it is.
I'm not even aware.
Who? Tom Bilyeu. Tom Bilyeu is he's an entrepreneur. I'm almost certain he's the owner of Quest. I'm not sure if that's Quest Labs specifically. I think it's him. I think his net worth is somewhere around 500 mil, if not more. I love his podcast because it's all like psychology based and like it's not self-helpy, but it's like how to be more productive, how to be happier, how to be a better person, better human, which I love.
You're such a good dude, man. I feel like what's his name? Tom
Bilyeu.
How do I spell Bilyeu?
B-I. There you go. Second from the top.
Bilyeu?
Yeah.
Tom Bilyeu.
Good dude.
Quest Nutrition. Oh, okay. That makes sense that he is. I mean, it is a little self-helpy. But
yeah.
It figures it's a nutrition kind of dude.
He's a good dude. He's just, it's just like if you look at his podcast, it's just a little too produced for me. Like he has a space, multiple camera angles. It seems like a show, which to me, it turns me off. I'm used to just set up a camera and have a conversation.
Right. So do you watch like Lex Friedman's? Do you know Lex?
Man, I know. Yes, I respect him.
It's too boring, too dry for you?
I can't take. Yeah, it seems like he's
too stoic in me.
Yeah. Like people for me are more like, like I like when they express themselves a little bit. I'm not saying he's not, that's who he is. I'm not talking mess. Yeah. It's difficult to get through an hour though of that,
Yeah. When he's on Joe's podcast, he's amazing. I actually haven't had the opportunity to check out. Well, I guess I've had the opportunity. I guess I just didn't bother because he's on Joe's so frequently. And like I said, Joe's an outlier where he has a unique way to bring out people even when they're shy.
Well, he's been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
He has a format that works for him. He's also a comedian, so
right.
And I'm speaking as someone who isn't necessarily a huge fan of his comedy.
Right.
I do think that his skills as a comedian, though, have transferred over into him being just a wonderful host. I know he's controversial because he has like a lot of, he's been at the middle of like and around ancillary to like a bunch of drama and all this. I have no opinion on any of that. But as a podcast host, like you have to admit, a lot of that stuff was interesting. And the way he leads conversations. Yeah. It just works, man. Like
dude, he's a brilliant communicator.
Yeah, like there's no two ways about that.
Yeah,
he's really good, and I mean, the success of the podcast is if anyone can tune into 3 hours worth of a conversation of people they don't know,
right?
That times what 90 million, whatever. What's his download? Whatever before Spotify, I don't know.
It's ridiculous. I mean, dude is like the fucking king of that shit. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's really good at that.
So you listen to Pinker.
I like Pinker.
Listen to Bilyeu. Who else you rocking with?
Gary, if I want to hear someone yell in my ear, because he's just funny to me, man. Like he's just so like New York energy.
Gary V.
Okay.
Gary Vaynerchuk. I was like, I didn't hear last name, but Gary V. Okay.
Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk is hilarious to me. For sure. So the big ones are Tom Bilyeu, Gary Vaynerchuk. Not so much Joe Rogan because I don't have a Spotify
You're on Spotify?
Not on Spotify.
You have Apple Music or none of that?
I don't have. I used to have Apple Music.
Oh, so you're just rocking with commercials then?
I just hate commercials. Yeah, I don't like.
But you're rocking with it if you
What
don't
do you
have
mean?
either of those.
I don't use them.
So like, how are you getting your music? Like, let's say,
I buy it. I'm old school.
but you buy everything.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So the Spotify thing is like I've never liked Spotify's UI, or I should say the way that you get around everything in Spotify just never made sense to me. It's very difficult to use for me.
Really?
Yeah, I've gotten that same reaction from everybody.
Search, artist, boom.
I don't like that. Like it seems every time I go on Spotify, if I don't pay for it, it has to be a radio station.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, but if you pay for it, that goes away.
I'm not paying for that. I'm not paying for that.
Okay.
Also because they treat musicians and artists terribly. From what I hear.
They do.
Yeah.
I remember reading an article a couple years back where it was actually, I think Apple was the best one. Still pays musicians
Very
shit
low,
too.
yeah.
But out of all of the streaming platforms, actually no. And this was a shocker because I had no idea they were still around. Napster's
Napster's a thing?
Napster's still a thing, and Napster I think pays the most.
Oh.
Metallica fucking won.
Okay.
You know
need to
what I
go
mean?
back to Napster then.
Yeah,
I was
Napster's the one that pays the most.
Yeah.
But yeah, I switched to Apple, and then after I don't know, like a year and a half on it, I thought Spotify's algorithm was better and their platform was a little better because let's say I was listening to an album, whatever it is. Once that album was done on Apple Music, music would stop playing.
Yeah.
Whereas on Spotify, once that album is done, it automatically will generate artists similar to what you were just listening to and create a radio station based on that.
That's pretty cool.
And so that's how I was discovering new music.
That's pretty cool.
And so I was like, oh, this is cool. I want to discover new artists. Apple didn't have that.
The other thing that I noticed with Apple, and this is why I got off Apple, is that a lot of the artists that I like to listen to,
Don't have their music on there?
nah. Like a lot of the Brazilian artists that I love,
Yeah.
like old school samba, even music from Mali. Like I like to listen to a lot of like stuff.
That you might find on Spotify, though.
Really?
Yeah, Spotify, I think, still kind of has a larger selection.
Oh man. So maybe I need to try Spotify again though, because that algorithm thing is pretty cool.
I think there's like a little free trial, I believe.
I'm gonna try it out then. I got used to just going and like, because with Amazon it being so easy now, you can
Right.
find most CDs for really cheap.
Yeah.
For like $2, and I'll
Yeah.
just buy them, and then I have the actual CD.
Yeah.
And then you get to see the liner notes. You know, I like all that stuff. So
Are you a vinyl head too?
nah, I'm not vinyl. I don't like
See, I like the vinyl over the CD,
vinyl. Sounds nicer,
obviously.
but it's also just like, I don't know, man. It seems there's a lot of care that it takes. You have to like really take care of the vinyl so it
There
doesn't
is.
screw up. You know.
There is, but if you like the liner notes and you appreciate the artwork for like an art cover, like it's just a bigger version of that.
Yeah.
And it's cool to have.
Yeah.
It's an art piece in and of itself. You're right. It does require special care. Don't let it get too hot. Don't let it get
Yeah.
too, you know what I mean?
It gets hot in San Diego.
Yeah, and it can warp, things like that I completely understand. And a lot of people now, even newer ones, because now vinyl's kind of had more of a resurgence the past few years, if you buy a vinyl, they'll have like a download card, a QR code, where you could have the MP3s or whatever on your phone.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's like, cool, I could have it wherever I want. I don't have to just listen to it.
Yeah, or
you know?
buy a separate thing.
Yeah.
To put it in the
Yeah,
computer.
it's like, cool, it could be on my phone. I can listen to this album now everywhere.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. So yeah, I just got used to just buying stuff. Like I have a tremendous library of music. So it's
So how do you discover new artists?
the way that I love to do it is to look at the liner notes and
Okay.
and look at the personnel. And then I go search the personnel to see if they have any solo artists or solo projects.
Solo projects, yeah.
And then whatever else they're on. So like I use Discogs a bunch.
Okay, yeah.
And you'll find like all these records from like who knows what year, like really old, like obscure stuff.
So it sounds like, keeping with your ethnomusicology theme here, it sounds like you listen to a lot of old stuff.
Or new stuff.
Or it doesn't have to be super old, but relatively older.
I listen to everything.
Yeah.
I like everything. The only thing I don't like probably is like, if I had to say, something. I don't know what comes to mind.
You can be the typical guy like, I hate country.
No, there's some cool country shit.
Okay.
There's some good country music that I listen. I mean, look, there's bad music everywhere. I don't want to say, if I say one type of music is gonna be bad, you know, there's bad music everywhere. But
do you like electronic music too or no?
You mean like what is it, like EDM and?
I mean, that's type of electronic music,
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
I feel like that's like the soundtrack of my college years. Like my roommates, all of them were super into all ravers and all this, and
Did you go on any festivals?
I went to one, and then a good buddy of mine is gonna take me to the next EDC, so I'm super excited for that.
I'm surprised they didn't even have it this past year because Vegas has just been open.
I
You know what I mean? Like,
I was at a gig not too long ago. There was a bunch of people dancing, and they were doing a bunch of crowd work.
Yeah.
And he just looks at me and he goes, right, like I started laughing so hard, man. I feel like that's exactly what Vegas is right now. All these people, Vegas is already grimy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you walk down the street in Vegas and your feet stick to the sidewalk. You know, it's like, ugh, like what is this place? I can now.
Yeah.
It's just like a hazard.
A whole, yeah.
But whenever it's safe, we'll be out there.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that.
It's never safe.
Yeah, that's true, right?
Sure, dude.
But man, everything. I just like music, man. I like music. I like new sounds. Like Billie Eilish and her whole production team to me is super interesting. The way they can manipulate sounds that way.
Do you buy her shit too then? Like,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
She's
so
really
you
cool.
buy a lot of music.
I like to have I've never liked the idea of paying for something that you like. Let's say my library is corrupted or whatever.
Yeah.
Then I'm just I know you could re-download it, but then like the quality is less, right? You know.
Right.
But if you have the CD, then you can always have that, and then you also have all the other stuff. Sometimes now, I think the Align record, the latest one that I bought, I think it's Agua del Coco, something about Coco.
I think you're right.
They gave you the digital booklet, which is pretty cool too.
Nice.
So I appreciate that. I don't know. There's something about having CDs. Maybe I'm a 90s kid. Maybe that's what it is. I remember walking around with my little Walkman.
I'm a couple years older than you. I get it.
Yeah.
I've adopted almost everything digital.
Mm-hmm.
I am very much like the less shit, the better for me because I don't have to worry about anything. If I misplace it, I'm like, where did I fucking put that shit?
Yeah.
Like it's everything I could access from my phone, my laptop, from anywhere. I'm like, I love that. That's just
function.
Yeah, and then also the playlist function. Like I remember back in the day, burning CDs, be like, "Ooh, I love this song from this album, but I also like this song from that album."
Yeah.
I don't have to constantly switch it out. I would burn songs on CDs, and so I have a playlist essentially.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about Spotify or Apple's. I curate a playlist.
Yeah.
Just like I could just take that anywhere, and that's kind of why I like that.
That's
stuff.
really cool. I'm gonna give Spotify another chance because of everything you just said right now. I'm gonna try the free trial and watch me love it.
Dude, I agree with you though. They are awful for the artists. I 100% agree.
There was something always about
But this
it.
podcast is on Apple and Spotify, so.
Oh, mine's on Spotify too. But I mean, I mean, come on now. You gotta go where the people are gonna be, So if I like out of protest.
Yeah.
Don't put my stuff on Spotify. Who loses me?
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't expect to get paid from them in any way.
Bro, we're running out of time for you, and you just brought it up. I totally forgot. No, we got like 10 minutes, I believe, right?
Yeah, we got time.
Yeah. Your podcast.
Yeah.
Tell me about your pod.
So my podcast is People Plus Art. So that's the name of the podcast, People Plus Art. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. Google Play.
Hell yeah.
So what I've tried to do with this podcast.
You're on YouTube too, right?
YouTube, yeah. So we have an interesting okay, so there's a few things that I wanted to address when I started. The first thing was, how can I create some kind of avenue of doing ethnomusicology that isn't so academic, right? Because even the word itself is like off-putting to a lot of people, and trying to get through an academic article of ethnomusicology if you aren't used to that kind of reading is very, it can be very difficult.
Absolutely.
But a lot of the work that ethnomusicologists do is very meaningful, can be very meaningful. And I think it can help us to overcome a lot of the issues that we have in our society. Xenophobia, racism, prejudice, bias. Because at its core, it's a lot of just people. It's people centered,
right?
And when things can be people centered, it can be very powerful, I believe. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to create an outlet.
You are a people lover, huh?
I like people, man. People are interesting.
I like them too, but they're really fucking annoying too.
Oh. anything you love is going to be annoying at one point or another, if you think about it.
I think
music's annoying as hell.
Yeah, well, if you're around it a lot.
Music's annoying, period. Music's annoying. Lugging your stuff to gigs, the amount of practice it takes, the amount of practice you do, and then something doesn't come out right, even though you practice it.
That to me is an extension of it. That's not music, though.
Yeah, but it's part of it.
It's part of what you got to do to play it.
Yeah.
But what I mean is that, like, if you're around it enough, anything could be annoying. Like, if you, like, you did, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm around my family too much, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, fuck off already, you know?
But you love them.
I guess.
Whoa. Whoops. Next episode. That's what I get. What was his name? Dr. Drew? Dr. Phil?
Yeah. Both of them.
Son, you got problems.
Oh, my God. I didn't know you were. That's a good impression. That's a good impression. So that's what that podcast is. It's basically taking people who are doing interesting things with art.
Okay.
For the betterment of society, or just interesting things in general.
Right.
And just talking to them and seeing what they're doing and sharing their work. So we've had Gabriel Garcia on the podcast, my buddy Mark Ruiz, who is actually getting his doctorate in psychology.
Nice.
But he uses hip hop as a tool for mental health and like healing. So we had him.
So there's like a little bit of musical therapy involved with that.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So just a bunch of artists and a bunch of creative people all doing interesting things in the arts and sharing their stories and sharing everything with them. Now, what I've tried to do is also create, seeing as I'm still starting out, as much, avenue to provide, I don't know, publicity, but also whatever money I can to the artist. So what I try to do is I release the audio only versions as like 20 minutes. It's usually the longest interview we had so far is like 2 hours. And they all come out as 20-minute versions for audio only. Mm-hmm. But the full thing gets uploaded in video to YouTube. Yeah. And I keep whatever original content that we go over in the interview on the video. So YouTube automatically flags it, and whatever revenue is made from that video goes to that artist automatically. Okay. I don't take any money from that.
Right.
So once that is in play later on down the line, that should be a cool way to at least in some way divert some kind of money back to the artist. So I don't know if anyone else is doing that or if there's a better way to do it.
And I don't know anyone that's doing it that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if there's a better way, I'd be happy to do it. But
a better way for them to receive money?
More money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far we've had original music and original music videos on the podcast. We've had my buddy Dane Schultz, who he's in the process of getting his ethnomusicology doctorate from Colombia. Mm-hmm. He has produced so much original footage of all these timba bands in Cuba. Wow. He's been going for years.
I think you've mentioned him before. Yeah, that's cool.
I think he's in San Diego right now. Dane, where you at, Dane?
What up, bro?
So we went over that. So that's what that podcast is, just sharing with people all these different things that people are doing in the arts and how cool they can be and how they can bring us together as a society. That's the goal.
Once again, you're a caring individual.
Trying to be, at least for the internet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. At least that's what you're portraying.
Yeah,
yeah. Who knows?
Right.
As soon as I shut this off, fuck those fools. This guy owes me money. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. Yours is very much almost like philanthropic. That's a word, right?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
One day, hopefully.
Mine is once
selfish,
again
man.
very,
cool.
very, very selfish.
But you make me spit up when I'm drinking tea. That's all that matters.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I almost ruined this entire couch. Had to go home and change, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cracking jokes.
Yeah, man. This whole thing is usually pretty silly. This has been. I hate having a time constraint, but I wanted you on.
Sorry, man. I'll come back.
No, yeah. Come back for sure. But yeah. It's funny because these things we do it opposite. You say the audio is 20 minutes and then the video is longer. Usually it's actually the opposite for me.
Really?
The audio is longer, and then I'll edit out the video and put that on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cool. This one I probably won't edit at all. Maybe, I don't know. After viewing it, maybe I'll cut something out.
Yeah.
But I doubt it. It was short enough. I was going to bring... Oh, yeah. So we usually, kind of towards the end of the episode, we, as in me and Oliver, he has a little segment we call Oliver's Deep Dives.
Oh, okay.
And... He's currently in Portland. He just married I got to rephrase this. I almost said he married his sister.
Whoa.
But he was the official.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he married his sister and her fiance.
Yeah.
So he's in Portland. Shout out to Oliver. He's in Portland right now doing that. And so I didn't receive any deep dives. But I have a video here that I thought was funny.
Oh, Jesus.
And I wanted you to see it. Seen this video?
Oh, God. No.
All right.
Jesus, what is this?
Chicken motherfucking air nuggets. Chicken motherfucking air nuggets. Chicken motherfucking air nuggets.
You know, to be 12 and have the confidence to go into a mirror,
Bro, you
don't have the decency to take your dirty towel off the rack before you start recording this video, and just I don't even know what
I want to get
doing?
I want to get like, what do you think is like? What's his mindset here?
He's trying to show people he's hard. I don't know. Like he
Okay.
watches a whole lot of 90s. I don't know what it is. Seems like gangster movies or something like that.
I mean, one more time from the top because it's just like a 10-second clip.
It seemed like he's trying to be a DJ. He's trying to do all the noises at once.
So the caption that I saw with this is how to tell people you're home alone without saying that you're home alone.
I don't think he's home alone, man. I don't think he's home alone.
His parents are downstairs.
Yeah, his mom is like, "What is happening
doing
right
the chicken
now?"
nugget thing again.
The chicken nugget. Yeah, he was saying chicken nugget.
I thought he was saying chicken. Well, yeah, I thought he was saying chicken nugget. What did you hear?
All I heard was whatever noise that was. That's the only thing that's like burned into my mind right now. And that look on his face.
That look.
Look at that look right there. Can I put that look on a shirt? I would wear a shirt if someone just put that face on a
That
shirt.
would be amazing.
Whoever makes shirts and you watch this podcast, please. What's the name of this video?
I don't know.
And shout out to this kid. What's this kid's name?
I don't know anything about this
You know nothing about this
I know
kid?
nothing about this kid. That's why I loved it. There was
Chicken Nugget Kid.
There was zero context.
Chicken Nugget Kid. If
And
you
it
make a shirt with your face, that face.
That's the fucking best.
Oh, man.
This kid is the shit.
You're sitting on a gold mine, kid.
This kid is the shit.
Make some shirts.
So he's saying chicken nuggets, right? Wait.
He says,
Chicken motherfucking air nuggets. Chicken motherfucking air nuggets.
what is that?
Motherfucking air nuggets.
You think this is in like...
It's the last.
Just to make... Yeah, I don't... He's making some kind of point. I can't get to it, though. He's on a different level, man.
Yeah, I need
Oh,
the
man.
context to
I need
follow.
a shirt of this guy. Like, I just... That face.
Just that fit, the intensity.
The intense face, man. That's
know-
the energy that I have to bring to music and to everything in my life.
Yeah.
He's fully committed.
100%.
He put it on the internet.
That's how you start a show.
That's how you start a show.
Chicken nuggets.
Wendy's. This kid is
Yeah.
your next commercial. Find this kid.
Hell yeah.
Or Jack. It's probably more of a Jack in the Box audience, probably. You know what I mean? I think it's more of a Jack in the Box audience, this kid. Damn.
Oh, yeah, Jack in the Crack. There you
Jack
go.
in the Crack.
Boom.
Whatever he's saying. There it is. There it is, man. What does the shirt say?
I think it's NASA. I think it says NASA.
NASA?
NASA, we got your fucking guy
I
here.
don't know if he's reflecting NASA very well.
Yeah. No, you know what that is? NASA is now marketed because they changed their logo.
Look at that. Look at that face.
Has now marketed towards to like Target. Target like sells NASA shit.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So this kid is probably
Does it mean less to you now? Because Target sells it?
honestly, NASA's fucking up, bro. I mean, Jeff Bezos went to space.
Not through NASA.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They're fucking up. Like,
Oh, only NASA?
Bezos and Elon, they're gonna beat out NASA, dude.
I was really worried you're going to start some flat earth kind of stuff right now. I was really worried. On our last
we can get to
2
that.
minutes.
We can get to. You believe the Earth is round, dude? Like,
You believe that? You believe that it's flat? Really?
No, dude.
Where did Jeff Bezos go?
He just went up.
He just went in the back there. Yeah,
He
that's
just
what it
went up
was.
and back
Big
down.
facade.
Yeah.
Okay, have you heard him laugh? Did you hear that?
Oh, I saw that clip.
Did you see that clip?
He's fucking weird.
That guy freaked me out.
Honestly, I think you get to a point when I think as soon as you hit like 1 billion, you become like a bit of a robot.
You think that is what? That's,
Dude, look at
You pulled the
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg. You pulled the Zuckerberg.
That dude's an alien, right?
How much money do you think this kid has?
This kid's on his way.
On his
He's
way,
On his
yeah,
way.
yeah.
He's on his way.
He's about 6 months away from it. Oh! He couldn't have played at a better spot. He could have played. Whoever this kid is, man, can we reach out to him?
You're going places. You're going places, Junior.
Yeah, maybe not NASA, but
that I feel like that would damage my vocal cords. If
yeah,
I
don't do
tried
it.
doing that.
Don't do it.
That's so great.
Oh,
All right,
man.
we got
Cool,
to.
this was fun.
It was
Yeah.
fun. We'll have you back again when there's
yes. No.
Plus,
time
when it's
constraint.
when you could do it proper.
Yeah, in the afternoon when I'm not about to go to KPBS.
I know, but there's morning drinkers, bro.
Man, I can't be loose with people. Yeah, I gotta go play some stuff.
You could
man.
be loose. You were able to be loose yesterday
When?
at the gig yesterday. I heard it was pretty loose.
Were you there?
No, you told me about
How'd
it.
you know I was drinking?
No, it's like I know things. I know
Damn,
things.
eyes everywhere. CIA.
Oh, yeah, you don't know the half of it. All right, dude. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
And
you,
yeah,
bro.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Boom. Right.
He says,
Chicken motherfucking nuggets. Chicken motherfucking nuggets.
what is that?
Nuggets.
You think this is in like